Okay, hello. I hope everyone can hear me, and I will be putting links down below this video in the comments. So anything that I mention, I will link to it after the fact, so don't worry about that. So what we're talking about today, as you can see right here, is things that you can do to get ready for nursing school. So I'm seeing that students are starting to get their acceptance letters. So congratulations to anyone who has gotten their acceptance letter. That's so exciting. And you're probably thinking, what can I do to get ready for school? What are some things that I can get dialed in before my classes start, right? So I want to just say the very first thing to do before nursing school really hits is relax. Celebrate your accomplishment. You got in, that's huge. And enjoy this time off, okay? Because once school starts, it's going to be intense. And I don't want you to look back and feel like, wow, I really should have taken that vacation or all of that. So relax, enjoy, refresh, renew. That, of course, is the main thing. So I'm seeing, oh, how do I say your name? It's so pretty. Annelina. Hi, Annelina. So happy Saturday to you. And you got accepted starting May 30th. Oh my gosh. So your program is starting really soon. That's exciting. Did they give you much notice? Sometimes there's not much notice. So depending on how much time you have, we'll talk through some things, and I think it'll be really helpful, okay? So one of the things that I will link to below this video is a new nursing student checklist, which is great. If you love a checklist as much as I love a checklist, you will really find this handy. So I'll link to that below this video, and when we get to the end, I'll talk a little bit about what's included in that checklist, okay? So feel free to go into the comments and add your comments. I should see them pop up on my screen as we go. Okay. All right. So aside from refreshing, renewing, relaxing, rejoicing, I want you to really put some thought into how you could get kind of your home and your life really organized and running on kind of consistent, predictable systems, right? So one of those things, and this is something that I did that I found I was so thankful. You know how when your current self looks back and says thank you to your past self? This is one of those instances, is that I took a few, Saturdays here and there throughout the summer before I started my program and did a bunch of cooking. I mean, something so simple as that, right? Made such a huge difference. And then I packaged meals together, just little single serving or double serving. It's just me and my husband, little lasagnas and casseroles and soups and chilies and all those kinds of things that freeze really well. And I'm telling you, when I would come home after a long day at clinical, or after, maybe one of my classes, my pharmacology class was in the evening, I wouldn't get home until a little bit later. I thanked my past self so much for being able to grab something from the freezer without having to go out, without having to spend money, and without having to eat garbage, right? And without having to make anything. So that is a simple thing that you can do. I would highly, highly recommend you do that between now and then, between now and the time that your program starts. And then you can also kind of stock up on your non-perishable items. The last thing you want to be doing is running to the grocery store the night before you've got an exam, or the night before you're getting up for clinical the next day, or whatever. So stocking up on non-perishables, or we didn't have this when I was in school, or putting those types of things on like your Amazon regular delivery, so that you don't have to worry about if the paper towels and the pasta are going to be at your house, right? They're going to show up every month or every 2 months because you've got a subscription. So definitely doing things like that. You can also go into, if you have is it Instacart? I think it's Instacart. Set up your standard grocery items, and then all you have to do is click order every week or whatever. I do the local grocery store down the street from my house. It's really easy to go on there, create an online account, kind of have my standard shopping list, and I just go in, click, 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 pick the things I want, order it, zip down there, pull into the parking space, pick it up, gone. In and out in 5 minutes? So things like that. Think about things that you can do to set up your home life to be kind of systematic and streamlined. Okay, you will thank yourself. It's also really helpful to get a dedicated study space together and organize. So maybe during your prereqs, you might have been able to get by with studying sitting on the sofa or taking over a corner of the dining room table, but nursing school is going to be a bit more intense than all of that. And you really do need a dedicated study space. Now, it doesn't have to be Instagram beautiful, right? It just has to be functional. So scout out a space in your home if you haven't already, where you can set up a desk. You could set up one of those temporary folding tables, whatever it is. Like I said, go to garage sales, whatever, it doesn't matter, but have some kind of dedicated study space so that you're not setting up, tearing down, moving things around. All of your stuff is where you want it to be and easily accessible. Honestly, you don't want to waste time looking for things or setting up your study space or tearing down your study space if the family wants to eat dinner at the dining room table. So having that dedicated study space, and it's great if you can have it in a room where the door closes so you're not distracted. Maybe it's, one wall or one corner of your bedroom or something like that. So setting up your study space is another thing that you can do between now and then. It's really fun, especially if you're going to like flea markets or garage sales to look for things. I always find that to be kind of fun. It's like you're on a treasure hunt, right? Okay, so the other thing I would say is organize your digital life. So we talked about organizing your home life, getting your study space set up, get your digital life kind of dialed in. This cannot be overstated. I am so guilty of this. I go through phases where I get it uber organized and then life gets super busy and I don't keep up with my organizational systems and then I have to go back and redo it again, right? So when I think about the state of my digital life today, right now, I'm thinking it's kind of a mess. It needs some attention. When you're in nursing school, you're going to be very busy. You're going to have a lot to juggle. Your digital life, if it's messy now, is going to get about 10 times messier just because there's so many documents and paperwork and assignments and all of these things. So get all of that stuff organized ahead of time. And this probably takes the most effort and the most amount of time. So you're going to get your digital files situated and a system for organizing your schoolwork digital files. Highly recommend doing that. You also want to get your internet stuff, your bookmarks, and how you find things online. Get that organized. Get a password manager set up like LastPass or something like that. And then email. Oh my gosh, email. How many emails do you get in a day? I feel like I get hundreds, and I'm not even kidding. Getting your email situated, really key. It's high on my priority list right now. And I heard about this kind of framework for clearing out your inbox, and then I adapted it a little bit for me. So I'll share that with you. It was called the 3-2-1-0 technique. I still call it that, but I kind of changed what the numbers mean. So the 3 means you're going to do this 3 times a day, and you do this until you get your inbox situated, right? So 3 times a day, and that's why you don't want to do this during school because you won't have time. 3 times a day, get into your email and spend 20 minutes, like set a timer for 20 minutes. So that's where the 2 comes from. 3 times a day, get into your email for 20 minutes and go through. And you're going through and you're opening every single email or immediately unsubscribing and deleting. Okay, so unsubscribe and delete. If you're not reading the emails, unsubscribe. You can always sign up later, right? So unsubscribing and then deleting the emails. So you're taking action, like if it is actually something that you need to take action on, taking action and then filing it. So you're not going to just leave it languishing in your inbox. So 3 times a day, set a timer for 20 minutes, do the action with the email. And then as emails come in, because they're going to come in during that 20-minute period, this is where the number 1 comes in. You're going to handle that new email 1 time, which means that email that comes in as you're going through this exercise is getting unsubscribed, deleted, or acted upon, or filed away so that it's no longer languishing. And then the 0 is your goal. One day is to get to inbox 0. So that's 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. Try that. Let me know how it works. I've not been able to do it 3 times a day yet, but I have done it several mornings this week, and it has been really helpful. And then another key thing for kind of getting prepped for nursing school is all around establishing routines. And if you're in my boot camp or you've listened to my podcast for any length of time, you maybe have heard me talking about routines and the importance of that. So if you can establish really solid routines before, kind of it gets really real, then they'll be firmly established and in place for when your life does get a little bit more intense. So what I'm talking about are things like start of day routines. I have a whole podcast episode about a morning routine and how you start your day and how that sets your whole day up for intention. And I've had so many students email me after they've listened to that podcast episode and after they've started implementing morning routines, what a difference it made in their whole nursing school experience. So that cannot be underestimated. It's very, very impactful. So what does a morning routine look like? I won't go into all of it because I did do a whole episode on this, but it might be things like exercise could be one. It could simply be drinking a whole bunch of water. And I know my water looks weird. I put powdered greens in it, but drinking a lot of water to get your hydration started off. Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's meditation or prayer or taking the dog out for a walk or unloading the dishwasher, like whatever that is. What are the things that you can do in the morning that help set you up for a productive and intentional day? And then I like to take it a little further. I've got a start of work routine that I do before I sit down and get actually to work at my computer. You might have a start of your study day routine, right? That could be clearing your emails, doing a quick 3-2-1-0 exercise, checking for announcements on your learning management system, checking your calendar, things like that. And then having an end of day routine, which is really nice because it really just sets a kind of a boundary, kind of a marker between work and then now I'm going to be home, or I'm going to be here for me or here for my family. So those are the kinds of things that I'm talking about. I'll link to that episode on morning routines. After I finish this video, I'll come back and add that link. And then we get into kind of some of the practical things that you can actually do to help you be more successful in nursing school. And I was just talking about this on my Instagram a couple days ago, I think. And really, when you look at what you're learning in nursing school, I would say 90% of it is going to be a continuation of what you learned in anatomy and physiology. And then 10% of it is going to be things like communication and leadership and time management and those kinds of things. But the bulk of it, when you're talking about disease conditions and nursing assessments and nursing interventions, that all came from A&P, guys. So if A&P was more than 6 months ago, honestly, you need to go back and do some review. So I have a list in that new nursing student checklist that I will link to below this video. It tells you exactly which topics are going to be the most important to review. I'm not saying look at absolutely everything. That would be boring. But go back and review a few key things. And some of those things are fluids. So you want to understand fluid compartments, fluid shifting in the body. That's huge. It happens all the time in your patients, and it can be a real cause for deterioration and a target of interventions that are being done, right? So fluids and fluid shifting. Looking at electrolytes. Now, I don't care what the electrolyte level is. It's more about what is the electrolytes role in the body. And when you really understand the electrolytes role in the body and the key things that it does, then it's a lot easier to understand why somebody might have these signs and symptoms when this electrolyte is out of whack, or what you're going to watch for, things like that. So really understanding the key role of electrolytes. And if you didn't learn that in anatomy and physiology, I've got some podcast episodes that cover that. I've got a deep dive into it in my boot camp. So there's definitely some resources out there for you. You want to take a really good look at cardiovascular physiology. One of the things that'll help you so much, I see students struggling with heart failure, left-sided heart failure and right-sided heart failure. And they're like, I don't know how to memorize the difference between these types of heart failure. Guess what? You don't have to memorize a single thing. As long as you know the pathway of blood flow through the heart and the lungs, like from the body to the heart to the lungs, back to the heart, back to the body, and where it goes and all of that, then you can reason out what the signs and symptoms of left-sided versus right-sided heart failure are. So go and look at that 100% for sure. Respiratory physiology, gas exchange. Those are key things that I would look at if I were heading into nursing school and wanted to review my anatomy and physiology. I would also take a look at acid-base balance and how the body manages to maintain that pH range where the cells actually work really well, right? So acid-base balance. So again, there's more items. They're in that checklist. I will link to that. And the other cool things about that checklist, which I really love, besides the fact that it's a checklist and I am a little bit addicted to crossing things off my list, is it's going to be, I've got things to add to your nursing school library that your school may not think of or may not think to recommend. And I've added my recommendations to that so that you can go check out a book or a resource that I've already used and think is really great. So that's super helpful. If your school doesn't give you a lot of guidance on your clinical supplies, I've got a list of some things that can be really helpful for you in clinical and the specific recommendations for the things that I've used and really like. Some must-have office supplies that come in really handy, and you can put those in your newly situated home office that you're going to make. It also has a list of apps and online tools that you can add to that very organized digital life that you're going to get all situated. And then some other things about getting organized for nursing school, other things that you can do. And then again, that A&P review. And not just what subjects to look at, but kind of how to work that into your schedule over the next, month or 2 months or a few weeks or, 3 months if you're not starting until the fall. So that's kind of my overview tips for some things that you can be doing to get ready for nursing school. Again, I'll put the link to that new nursing student checklist below this video. I'm just thinking, am I putting this on Facebook? Yeah, so it's going to be below the video. And if I put it on YouTube, it'll still be below the video. And then I'll link to my boot camp as well if you're interested in really diving into nursing school prep. And then I have kind of a fun little course, I guess, little program called the 5-Day Get Organized Challenge that dives into kind of like that whole realm of getting your life organized before nursing school. I'll link to that as well if you're interested in that. Okay, so Angie, I see that you asked a question. Oh, some courses got you scared. You're coming back. Angie, I've got a really great episode. I'm trying to think of the exact title, but I'll go find it and I will link to it here for you. And I believe it's called Bouncing Back from a Failure or something like that. And then there's another one about, what is it? I think it's called You Are Not Your Grades or something like that, because I know nursing students, we, take things very personally when things don't go as planned, and it can be a blow to ourselves. And I would hate for any student to think that. So I kind of made those 2 episodes to tackle that. So I'll link to that and I hope that helps you. Okay, so that is what I have for you today. I'm going to go outside and enjoy this beautiful day unless anybody has any questions to pop into the chat. Otherwise, keep an eye out for those links and I will see you very soon. Okay, bye.